Yo, high ticket sales and systems fam, what is going on? I feel like I'm like an announcer at a basketball game or something. I'm definitely ready for
It's awesome.
Cannot wait. Guys, what a day it is. First and foremost, latest live I've ever done here in the group. Welcome, welcome. Super excited.
What time is it there?
It's 6:40 in the
Okay.
The reason that I'm doing this, you might notice this guy has a slight bit of an accent. He's actually from China. I'm kidding, obviously. Oh my God. Everyone's going to freak out at me like, what are you saying? He's actually from Straya, which is Australia. The only reason I know Straya is from Jordan Kilgour. We love you, bud. He's out in London. Hope you're doing well. The reason that I brought Alan Howle here today is because Alan is a master of video. And I think if we all understand one thing about our attention spans is that we've lost it completely in the world that we live in. And there's one really effective and engaging way to capture attention, and that is through video content. It's probably, in my opinion, the best possible medium to do so. Think about it this way. Right now, if you're listening and watching this video, you are proving my point. So with that being said, if you're proving my point, please like or love this post. Let us know you are live with us in the comments below, and we are going to deliver some amazing content for you here today, starting with this man right above me or to the left of me or to the right of me, depending on where you're watching and how you're watching and when you're watching, but it doesn't really matter where he is. He's here with you right now and me. Alan, how you doing, bud?
I'm amazing. Thank you so much for having me on, dude.
Yes, thank you for letting me be 30 minutes late. Awesome, I appreciate it. Guys, don't learn from my tardiness. Although I was on a call that was really important and it worked out, so it's all good. Alan, why don't we just start off and tell us a little bit about you and your business and kind of what you do, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So again, thank you for having me on. I basically do digital marketing and tried a number of different avenues and whatnot. And it always come back to video. So there was a few years ago where I started documenting my own health and fitness journey and whatnot. And I know you probably can't tell with this big chubby face, I put a little bit of weight on, but it was probably about 3 or 4 years ago now. I lost a stack of weight, documented my own journey, and learned about personal branding and a whole stack of other things during that process. And when I did this, I learned a whole stack, but I wasn't getting paid during that process. And then obviously the digital marketing stuff came about. Started up a digital agency, doing some Facebook ads and whatnot for people. And obviously, as we both know, is that people, essentially what we're looking to do through Facebook ads and everything else on behalf of a business is start relationships with people who you've never met before. You've never, they don't know who you are and whatnot. And the best way to do that is obviously to build some sort of human connection, right? The know, like, and trust factor. I use the numbers 7 to 21 impressions. And so hence the reason I started doing some video. And then obviously doing a mixture of video, workshops, boot camps, this, that, the other. Literally have an event coming up next week here in Australia. And I still love doing all that stuff. But what I love even more is, dedicating and working with someone to be able to, span out a whole stack of content so that it's a set and forget strategy. It's consistently meeting what they're looking to do. And it's also positioning themselves above everyone else, with effective, talking about effective tools and talking about effective things that relate to their audience, their needs, wants, desires, all those other things as well.
Love that, man. It's so powerful. And I love how you kind of have like a very strong positioning behind what you say. I think a lot of people can learn just from you how to answer that question. Because I think a lot of times when I get on calls with people, for clarity, by the way, guys, we didn't prep anything on this call. Yeah. I don't like prepping because I feel that it becomes inauthentic and transparent. Does that mean maybe there's a chance that some of them fall flat and there may be a dud? Sure, but I'd rather that than the idea of like, I'm Robot Alan, I offer this service. Like that doesn't help anyone. It doesn't create any value. Be able to know what you do in your business is someone saying, hey, what do you do? Hi, I'm Alex. I'm Alan. What do you do? And I think that's really important. So I love how you express yourself. It's really powerful, man. Yeah. I appreciate you sharing it. Let's start with the most obvious question here. As someone that creates a lot of content and has hired some amazing people to help me create content, I think one of the biggest obstacles is creating a actual flow that makes sense, kind of following the classic model. And I don't mean to bring up Gary Vee that he's the right person. I just think that he brings up a really strong idea of this like jab, 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 hook, right? Like value, 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 offer, value, 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 offer, value, 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 offer. And one thing I've learned in my experience, Alan, is I haven't made offers like blatantly enough. And that's something I've been changing. How do you create a strategy, Alan, video content or otherwise, that is purposeful, that has an end goal in mind rather than time wasting or nurturing or just doing whatever? How do you create purposeful content?
100%. All right, so let's refer back to Gary Vee, because I think if we look at anyone who's built a personal brand, in my opinion, he's number one. And you look at what he is doing in order to, all right, so in the back end, products, services, and everything else that he has. So he obviously has one library, he has his own sneakers, he has a massive agency in the background, and a whole stack of other things going on, you know, obviously being an entrepreneur. But what he has at that top level is that awareness. And obviously he's on multiple platforms, creating consistent, engaging content, and really just addressing things that people need to be aware of. And he's more or less just talking, like he's not a psychologist, he's not a relationship expert, he's not any of these things. He's simply talking from his own experience, his own business insights and experience. And by doing so, by just capturing these conversations that he has every day, by putting a camera and capturing it and turning it into 3 or 4 different pieces of content for 3 or 4 different mediums, he's positioned himself with that awareness. Now, as you mentioned before, all well and good to have all this awareness. And this is a problem with a lot of Instagram influencers and whatnot, right? They have all these millions of followers or thousands and thousands of followers, but they're not fucking making money. And so what you essentially want to do is you want to be creating content that's essentially the jab, 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 then the right hook. And this is where I guess Facebook ads and everything else is coming in that's really making it effective, is because if you're building that awareness, you're then able to qualify the people who are watching your video content. So perfect example is obviously in Facebook ads, you can obviously retarget people who are watching 50% of your content, 25 or 75% of your video content. That then means that you're not targeting people, like you're not targeting cold audiences, you're warming them up with awareness. And then you're retargeting them with an offer based on the fact that they've actually stopped to watch your content, or they've actually gone to your landing page because they've watched a video or whatever the case is. And you then create the most qualified leads because you took the time to build a relationship through digitally before you've gone and tried to do the right hook, like straight up, if that makes sense.
Wow. It's amazing. That's such a powerful methodology to simplify everything. And I think the biggest problem that I think, Alan, I'm going to call everyone out so that this happens. You probably just listen to that and you're like, okay, so how do I do the strategy, Alan? Listen to actually what he said, please. Like, write it down, do something with it. Don't just be like, okay, cool. So how does that happen? Right? I think that's great. And I love that advice. I think that's really impactful. Let me ask you the next question that I have, in my opinion, like, why in your mind is video, and I think we know this, but I think it's a good thing to ask, like, why video over, say, messaging over
perfect
with video, with pictures or anything like that?
And I love this question, right? Because I've had a lot of success through LinkedIn. I've worked with your old boy, Brian, to learn some LinkedIn stuff, and a whole stack of other.
Shout out Brian Downer. Let's go.
Shout out Brian. Yeah. Shout out to Brian. Now I've done a number of different things. And I think if we look at it, like if we look at humans as just a species and whatnot, the reason that we do business is obviously through building relationships, right? And I just feel that with enough video content talking about certain topics and being vulnerable, I think that's a really big part, being vulnerable. And also being entertaining as well. You can't, like you said, you can't be a robot. You've got to have some sort of energy or something that people connect to, whether it is, you know, you're a fucking idiot, or, you know, you clown around, or whatever the case is. or you're just fucking smart like Peter, Jordan Peterson or someone like that. You want to just essentially have these things, in place, because then you're building up that awareness. And like I said, the reason I think video is so important is because it allows you to do so, it allows you to do so over a course of a period of time. It's again building that relationship, and I've tested this, and I obviously have my own leads and sales come through. And since I really, really paid attention to this, like consistently getting, 2 to 3 videos out every week, as per this strategy that I'm talking about and referring to, I started to notice, and I think, I mentioned to you before, the most respectful people who more or less literally come to me like I am some sort of celebrity, because I've positioned myself that way. And I literally so obviously, as I mentioned before, I do social media events and whatnot, and talk about this video stuff as well. And literally, I will go down to the shopping center, and I've had people come to me while I was the other day, literally, I was on the phone, I was ordering sushi, I was looking for the sushi place in the shopping center. And this dude literally came up with his kid and goes, "I love your Facebook content," and then walked away. Literally while I was on the phone, ringing my wife saying, "What do you want for sushi?" He's come up to me, say to me, "Yeah, love your Facebook content." And that's just one person. I'll go down to the local business networking things, and people are like, "Oh, I see your video content all the time." And my wife went to the gym, and she's like, "Oh, I seen your your husband's Facebook ads. I think I know who he is."
That's awesome.
Just little things like that. And it's like I said, if you have an effective strategy where you're posting out engaging video content and you're putting ads, and I think this is the most important thing, is actually putting ad spend behind it, because you can obviously post out a video, especially to your Facebook page, which these days is getting 1 to 2% of engagement on average. But if you're putting 20, I put $50 behind every single video that I do. And it just means that, just depending on the engagement and how engaging it is, I can sometimes have 30 times more people see it just by putting $50 behind it, you know? And then obviously my retargeting, the cost of retargeting is so much lower, because I'm building this awareness. I'm just building this status, and I'm qualifying the attention up on this top layer, so that when I do come in for the right hook, as we talked about before, it's much more effective, it's much more qualified, and they're so much more respectful. And so, yeah, to answer your question, that's why I'm such a bigger believer in video, because the other thing is, it takes balls. It takes massive balls to put yourself out there, talk about, and get vulnerable, get real. Not everyone can do it. So to have that ability to be able to step up to the plate and, knock it out, it takes real big balls. But if you're willing to do it, there's money to be made.
So I want to share some personal stuff about this that I think will be really valuable for everyone to hear. Obviously, camera's not something I'm afraid of, something that I love doing. I'm excited about it. I much prefer being on stage in front of people, but I also know that this is still a certain stage in its own right. It's just in my room instead of in an audience, or in front of an audience, live audience, that is. When I started doing more videos associated with who I was in my journey, I started creating more impact revenue-wise for my business, and also more leads than any of the actual value videos I did, because what I was doing was I was cutting through the noise by being me. People are intrigued by the offer and value you bring to the table, but the reality is any information you bring to the table at this point can be found for free online. And trying to find the dilution of content, meaning identifying what's the best, what's good value, what's not, what's good advice, what's not, is really hard. But the best way to make that connection so that they understand all the value you bring afterwards is not diluted and it's not shitty, is understanding you as a person. The more authentic and transparent I am on lives, on videos, the more value that I create revenue-wise for myself, and also the better I feel about myself. I feel better about myself because I'm not someone that I'm not. I'm just me, even if it's difficult, even if it's ugly, even if it's uncomfortable. And like you mentioned, right? So I did Carrot Con last weekend. I did an event in Chicago. I wore an orange suit, and then I did the live. I think it was on this group, right? I did it on the group, I think, where I wore the orange suit. Or was that? No, it was on my profile. I did it. And basically, at the event, I shook hands with a bunch of people. They're like, yeah, I've been following you. Like, I know you. I know your content. It's like, whoa, that's interesting, right? And I'm not sitting here saying that I have a huge following, right? I don't have 1 million followers on Twitter or even 500,000 or even 100,000 on Facebook. But even the 5,000 friends you have on Facebook that are in your niche and in your community, they know you, they like you, they trust you, they build that trust with you. I had a call today, Alan, with someone named Damon, and I made a direct offer on this group. I said, hey, does anyone want to have $10,000 added to their bottom line in the last quarter? I can help you do that. Do you want that? And I had some people answer, and I sent them quick videos to say, hey, like, I'd love to talk to you about it. And then I was like, no, like, it's really me. Look, I'll prove it. And I even said their name on it, right? And this one guy I spoke to, Damon, I got on the call with him, and he's like, I've loved the content you've been doing for a year. I've never spoken to the guy before. I never knew he knew who I was, let alone for a year. That type of impact is really hard to make if you're not providing video. What do you say to people, Alan, that are scared of it? Because I think there's a lot of people that are watching this. Like, I'm scared.
And so, look, in saying it, I think, I also think that video isn't for everyone, because there's some people who will never just get over their fears and get over themselves. But what I'd like to say and suggest is that strategy wise, I think we don't necessarily have to sit here and debate, whether it's one of the most effective strategies. I think that's quite clear. And so if you're looking for an opportunity, that's your opportunity. For someone who's scared or worried about putting themselves out there, I would say and suggest to, look at other mediums. Like, I know that, for example, I was actually thinking to myself the other day, I've got a TikTok idea that I'm going to execute probably later on this week when I've got a little bit more time.
Too. I really want to get into TikTok also.
I've got an idea anyway. So long story short, but it involves like some filters and some props and other stuff. And like it can, because the thing is that you may struggle to be serious on camera, but if you can be a fucking clown and embody your alter ego or something along those lines, maybe that's just exactly what you need. And I think the answer to the question is really just coming back to decide, where do what is it that I have to offer? What is it that I do or what I have that no one else has? And you're not going to know until you start to, get some momentum and really start to push the boundaries. So I think the first step is really just, I guess, it's actually got more to do with believing in yourself and backing your own ability, because people have, I think people underestimate the power of the message that they actually have, and the power of,
bro. Most people think they're unworthy and are unwilling or not valuable to give advice. Like,
exactly, crazy. If you realize the amount of value that you can offer to people just in your, and not everyone needs to be a Gary Vee. Not everyone needs to be, standing on stage or doing whatever, but you just realize that the value that and what you have, can be the difference between someone, not only buying, but you having an impact in someone else's life through what it is that you offer.
I love that. And I think that's so impactful. I think all it takes is one person telling you that they appreciated your video for you to get off your ass and do it. Just do it. There's nothing to be afraid of. Like, look at this. Exactly. If I did this on the 11th, I'm wearing a freaking disgusting green shirt with my I look like an absolute jackass. My wife is completely offended. Jordan literally wrote, never wear orange and dark green together again. The video alone made me $8,000. Someone joined my from this video, because all I did in this 20-minute video was just express very openly and honestly what I am. And honestly, sometimes in this video, especially when it's just you, right? Like, here I am, just me, it's just me talking. Sometimes it feels like you can be in an echo chamber, and sometimes you feel like, is anyone even listening? But they don't even have to engage to know that there are people that are listening and that need your message and that really need it. Like even this, where I didn't do a video on this, but it's like, give yourself permission, right? Like these types of things are really valuable. I want to just bring up something else here real quick if I can find it. Like even if it's not video, you can just be yourself and have fun and be you.
100%.
Like a video of being yourself and having fun. Like, I don't know if you saw this, by the way, Alan, you would love this if you haven't seen it. Brian and I did a live calling session where we called clients leads to try to book appointments. And if we couldn't book an appointment, we ate a hot wing on Facebook.
Wow. That's awesome.
And it got insane engagement, right? And the idea is like just being silly and being you really, really works. Like even this is so silly and stupid.
Yeah.
I need to get something off my chest as I'm wearing a stupid Superman shirt. You know, like you don't have to be, spectacularly strange or different.
No, you just need to be you. And like I said, I'd love to sit here and say videos for everyone, but for some people it's not. And it's just a matter of really just understanding that you just need to find your avenue. But if you really want to step up and you really want to give yourself a challenge and you really want to make, here's the best thing about building a personal brand is, especially through video, is that if you're building a personal brand around Alex or Alan or whoever you are, it doesn't matter whether you've got an agency, whether you're looking to sell shoes, whether you're selling wine. And I'm obviously now, referring to Gary Vee, but like you look at Gary Vee's model, it doesn't matter what he does. The moment he looks at something and picks it up and runs with it, he's got this massive audience and attention to just draw and funnel into the next venue or the next, opportunity or whatever the case is. And that's why obviously building that personal brand through video allows you to do that. It allows you to engage people and, do really cool, fun stuff as well.
I love it, man. Super powerful stuff here. Guys, if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. Other than that, if you're enjoying this, please like or love this post. Throw a 7 in the comments below. Let us know you're having a good time. Before we run, I just got 2 more questions for you.
Sure.
Number 1 is there's a lot of noise out there. There's a lot of people out there offering a lot of the same things. And a lot of people that watch this will say, okay, I get it. I like it, but I'm not going to do it because I can't cut through the noise. How do you become a celebrity in your niche? Like, how do you cut through the noise?
I think it's a matter of consistency and targeting. Okay. Consistency and strategy. So so we both know not everyone is an ideal customer, or not everyone is your ideal is a customer at all, right? And so you want to just get crystal clear. And I talk about putting the horse blinkers on and just getting fucking focused on who that ideal client is. What are their pains, points, needs, wants, desires? Who are they? What sort of job title? Where are they hanging out? All these other things, right? All of these aspects have to do with who you're looking to target. And so you may not, like when I talk about, building that celebrity status, you essentially want to build an audience. And for some people, you can literally go into Facebook, the business manager, and create, an audience of literally 15 to 30,000 people within a particular, radius. And it may literally be within your local area, or it may be across the US or across Australia or wherever the case is, but choosing, like getting really specific on, say, 50,000 or 100,000 people that you just want to consistently target so that these people know you by name. And the next way to do that is obviously then consistently have this video content consistency, making sure that you're constantly talking about topics that relate to those people, positioning yourself by obviously growing in your own ability. And then again, being real, being vulnerable, and I think the more that you can interact with them and do different things, like the example you showed before, eating hot wings, doing calls, all this other stuff, people love that because they don't see it. People, you see lots of, you see bits and pieces, but obviously, changing it up and doing something different and bringing your own flavor, like doing your own thing that authentically feels right for you. and just having that consistency and having fun. Like, I think if you're someone who's really enjoying your process and really enjoying what you do, that people are going to, I always say to people, people are attracted to your energy, but they'll buy your certainty. And this is why, like, if you're attracting, you've got really good energy, whether it's being a clown or a smartass or whatever the case is,
or both,
or both, that will ultimately like get people hooked and start getting their attention. And then it's obviously the certainty in being able to deliver a result or whatever the case is that's ultimately going to help them with everything else that is happening.
I love this. I can confidently say that video has allowed me to create significantly more impact and create a lot more revenue. It's also done something very special to me that I want to share before we jump off here that I think Alan might be able to talk about as well, like very transparently. A lot of the days that we work, sometimes you just don't feel it. Sometimes it's like, oh, God damn, it's 9 o'clock.
Yep.
9. Oh my God, I've got a million things to do today and I'm dead. I can't do anything, right? And I'm talking 9 a.m. Like, you don't want to do anything. And this happens. It's a normal human thing. Like, some days to just not be there. For me, for video, this is for me. It sounds like it's for you, Alan, also. I'm not suggesting this is for everyone, but for me, I know that if I'm feeling a certain way, if I force myself to go live on my profile, live on a story, live in this, my brain is going to automatically turn me up. Turn it on. Right then and there. Just turn it on. Feel comfortable, not be in your zone or not in your frame of reference, but you're able to just turn it on right off the bat. If you feel that sometimes you're not in your zone, try to go on video and recognize what's going to happen. Your brain is going to just turn it on for you. And that becomes really, really impactful. Before we run out of here, Alan, and thank you so much for sharing all this value. I appreciate it, man. How can people find you? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Find me through Facebook, through Alan Howle, or basically Alan Howle or alanhowle.com. But yeah, dude, reach out, connect. And thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate it. I think we might have had a little bit of a tech difficulty there, but hopefully it went well. If not, I'll make sure everything is linked below. But guys, thank you so much for the time. Have an amazing rest of your day. Alan, you too, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Woo! Thanks, dude. Have a good one.